I know. And so he reminded me that in February, I will be offering a workshop here. And on, I don't know what it is yet, Spirit hasn't told me. Thank you, Darcy. Darcy just raises the roof, she raises the vibration. Yeah. So this, and the music she chose is so perfect for today. My topic is a new day, and this is the weekend to celebrate the birthday of Dr. Martin King Jr. And we honor his legacy for all that he did as an activist and a peacemaker. And he fought against injustice and racial inequality. He was never afraid to speak up. And even after he was brutally beaten, he never condoned violence. And so we have so much to learn from him. His leadership, as you know, was fundamental in the movement that we saw in the United States. And yet today we are still even though this was in 1960, we're still on edge and at a great thing. So his message now, more than ever, is so important for us. He said, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. And that his message was love, to stand as love, and to speak as love. It's not to hide, but to speak up and to speak as love. And so that's our spiritual practice. He was such a role model for us, not only how to speak up about injustice, but how to hold a vision for a world, how to hold a place of peace and understanding. So it's so appropriate for us to learn from his leadership. And so it's a new day. In January, we always look to the newness. It's a new day. We have a new opportunity, a fresh start. And so using the things that Dr. King inspired in us, and from our own unity principles and thought principles, I have some practices for us that we can engage in. And so 5 practices to keep us in peace. And to keep us in peace and in love, and in raising our consciousness of uniqueness. So the first one is pay attention to your perception. And in the book, The 4 Pivots, author Sean Spinwright tells a story that his wife and daughter were taking an Uber to the airport. And they live in Oakland, and they have several signs outside their house. Black Lives Matter, no human is illegal, and they have some other positive signs out in front of their house. So while they were waiting for the Uber, and the Uber driver drove up, and his wife noticed that the driver was reading the signs. And so they got into the back seat, and she said, how are you today? And the driver didn't respond. And so she tried again, saying, well, it's a nice day, isn't it? Silence. The driver didn't respond. So now she's on alert. He was white, and they were black. And now she started feeling like, okay, he read the signs, and he does not want to take 2 women to the airport. And she was feeling really uncomfortable. And she felt very agitated and activated. And she leaned over to her daughter and she said, can you believe that he is ignoring us? And the daughter said, Mom, he's not ignoring us. There's a sign. He's deaf. He can't hear us. How much of our lives do we have perceptions that we haven't checked out? That in her innocence, she just didn't see the sign. And she made up a story and started feeling uncomfortable. And we do that. So we pay attention to our perceptions. What are we perceiving about people that we meet, people that we see, circumstances that we have. What are we, do we make up stories? And I teach in my women's group and in my classes, pay attention to the stories that you tell, because those stories are indicators. Either we're repeating a story about something bad that happened, that why are we repeating that story? And I confess I catch myself doing that. We live in a world where there's a lot of bad news, and so we want to share it. Why are we sharing that? Share the good news. Dennis said there's good news happening. Share the good news stories. And also pay attention if sometimes we take offense at something someone did or didn't do without checking in with them. So watch the perception and see what we're imagining and check it out. The other part of that is being curious. It's really important to be curious and ask questions about what is going on. And that if someone maybe has a response or you're not sure why they decided something. So I was working for a nonprofit organization, and they sent an email about a new policy that they were implementing. Well, the new policy was kind of going away from the mission statement. And I was really surprised, and so I started immediately replying, first mistake. Started immediately replying, and I was typing, seriously? Did you think about what this was going to do to the mission statement? And all of a sudden I caught myself. And I went, okay, step back, delete, delete, delete. I don't know what's going on with anybody. I don't know why they did that. So, dear friend, I'm curious. Why was this decision made? Can we have a discussion about how it affects our mission statement? Do you see the difference? And we did have a discussion, and it was wonderful, and we came to some resolution. But I caught myself in two things that I was doing. Well, three things. One, I was responding immediately while I was reacting. It's like we want to respond, not react. So it was the first thing. The second thing is I was not curious. I was defending. I was on the defense with that. And I was using you statements. Whenever we use a you statement, we are choosing the opposite of nonviolent communication. We are on attack. So, but I was able to correct myself, and that one incident shaped my habits and my experience for how I respond. So I'm paying attention, always pay attention, to be curious, to ask questions. Just because there's something different or something we're not used to, or because we never did it that way before, ask the question why. Dr. King says, I'm convinced that people hate each other because they fear each other. They fear each other because they don't know each other. And they don't know each other because they don't communicate with each other. And they don't communicate with each other because they are separated from each other. That we separate ourselves from each other, we don't communicate. And so then we feel that they're different. They're different than I am, so I'm unhurt. So when we have curiosity, we give the benefit of the doubt. We live out of compassion, and we look to find more information before we reach a conclusion. So the second one is watch your words. Watch your words. In the book, The Four Pivots, again, the author says that sometimes language holds a clue to our problem solving. That there's a pattern in terms to words that are being used to describe conditions when people want change. We tend to use terms like fight, resist, struggle, confront. And when we want change, and he says, what if we change that? Instead of resist, what about reimagine? Or defend, use the word dream. Instead of disrupt, to discover. And he had a number of words to use differently that were more in support than on attack and in opposition. So it's important to watch our words. What are we saying in the world? To shift our language. And it takes imagination. I also notice this when I work with clients when they say that my event was horrendous. I said, really? Was it horrendous or was it different? Oh yeah, it was different. It just changes the energy. So choose your words carefully. Let's be in awareness of what we're saying and how we're communicating with each other. So the third is to be courageous. So just as we pay attention to our words, we also have the opportunity to use our words for good. Reverend David Alexander says, I affirm that we are stronger every time we defend human dignity, because it demonstrates our most basic principle, oneness with the divine. So when we stand up for our dignity, when we stand up for our oneness, we're standing up for what we believe, our spiritual belief that we are all one. There is only one. And oftentimes there's resistance to this. And to be aware of the resistance, to receive the resistance, to not be in attack of it, but to just notice it. Just notice it when it happens. Dr. King says nonviolence is a powerful and just weapon, which cuts without wounding and ennobles the one who wields it. It's a sword that heals. When we have nonviolent communication, nonviolent actions, we take a stand. And we take a stand that has power. There's great power in it. If you are on Substack or Facebook, check out Reverend David Alexander, because he's writing some very powerful articles right now. And he's written a book about liberation theology. And he says we're using the words of Dr. King and the teachings from Dr. King, but we're still not using his method of nonviolent participation, of being nonviolent and not looking to attack, but being in that place of finding peace. And Reverend David tells the story of Reverend Raymond Charles Barker. And years ago, his congregation met in a New York hotel. And the manager of the hotel met Reverend Barker. And he said, would you mind if the colored people attending wouldn't mind using the side entrance? Now, this was years ago when people use that language. Would they mind using the side entrance for servants, because they were making the whole hotel guests uncomfortable? Dr. Barker removed his congregants from the hotel and upset them. So he took action. His actions were political in nature and religious and spiritual in commitment. He was courageous. He was using his courage. And that's what we have the opportunity to be courageous when we hear something that we know is not out of unity, when we see something to speak truth. And it takes courage. I'm so grateful for all the courageous people that are standing up right now, that are speaking up, that are teaching. It's so powerful to see all the courage. The fourth thing is forgiveness. The fourth practice is forgiveness. There's great freedom and power when we're able to forgive. Love is all there is. Love is a synonym for spirit, right? Because we know that spirit is love. We know God is love. And so every person, every interaction, every experience we have is a holy moment of love. and we have the opportunity to be enough. So, do you have anyone that irritates you?
Yeah, right.
People that always an old one. People who irritate us, and the moments that challenge us are those invitations to shift. It's invitations for prayer. It's invitation to see this differently and to stand in the principle of love. So when we start our day consciously, when we say, I'm going to be in love today, I'm going to be in peace today, I'm going to be in harmony today, pay attention, because everything unlike that tends to show up. But when it shows up, we remember and stay in that commitment. Author Paul Selig says, when you don't forgive, you are the one being harmed. Because you are losing your own alignment to the divine, which is always present. We're losing that alignment to the divine. That's why we're practicing these principles. These are not just principles for world peace, these are principles for us, because we want to be in alignment with the divine. And the more in alignment we are, the more empowered we are, and together we raise that vibration. He says, Paul Selig says, you are always loved, regardless of whether or not you know it, whether or not you remember it. The Creator is in everything, regardless or not, regardless of whether or not you can receive it. The Creator is in everyone, in everyone. So it's when we have compassion for ourselves, we're able to have compassion for others. But so many of us beat ourselves down. Oh, I did this stupid thing, or what's wrong with me, or why did I do that? We don't have compassion for ourselves. Instead, think, I'm doing the best that I can today, or I did the best I can. I could. So, in his book, The Art of Forgiveness, Jack Kornfield has a story. He says there's a tribe in South Africa. And when a person acts irresponsibly or unjustly, the person is placed in the center of the village, alone. All work ceases, and every man, woman, and child of the village enters and surrounds, creates a large circle around the accused individual. Then each person in the tribe speaks to the accused one at a time, each one recalling a good thing that person did. They recall a good thing that person did, and they speak it out loud to him. They recall the detail and the accuracy, all the positive attributes, the good deeds, the strengths, the kindnesses are recited carefully and at length. And this ceremony can last for days. It lasts until they're all finished, and when they're done, they have a celebration as they welcome the accused back into the trial. Now, is that a practice of peace? What a practice. Forgive and let. And so, the fifth step is peace begins with me. And again, Paul Selig says, there's always been war. So you expect war, and you will have war. So you have an opportunity, if you wish, to lift the vibration of the level that you see before you to the highest available to you. We have an opportunity to lift to the highest vibration that, yes, we see conflict around us, we see war around us, we see violence, cruelty, but we have the opportunity to send love to that place. Send love there, send peace there, send harmony, send, I always remind you to send, remember, unemployed angels. Send unemployed angels. Send them, because they are bringing goodness, they are bringing, reminding us to love, reminding us to stay connected. If we see the atrocity and we claim it and we speak to that, Instead, try this. I see this before me in truth. Lift your vision to it. Instead of seeing the atrocity, I lift this before me in truth. Can you say that with me? I lift this before me in truth. So we're not seeing it as it is, but I lift it before me in truth. I don't have to know what that truth is. God knows what that truth is. All I have to see is that something new is being. We can reclaim what's happening in love. And it is the hardest thing to do. It's the hardest thing to do right now. But every time we do it, it multiplies. It expands in us. Expands in us and those that we are with, those that we are connected to. Claim what is good for the highest humanity. When we think a person is bad, we feed that behavior, just like the person in the African tribe. Remember the things that are good. If you can't do that, then send it to Spirit and say, I'm willing, I can't, I send this, in this moment, I send it to you. The best I can do is give it over to Spirit. To claim something to the light is to rename it and know it. I see you in the light. I see this in the light. I'm willing to see it differently. I'm willing to. Because the purpose of fear is to create more fear. The only purpose of fear is to create more fear. And so if we're aware of that, to counteract that, and I'm not sure if I got this from, I think this came from Paul Sella. He says to contribute to fear is to contribute to the broadcast. The fear is present. Fear is like a bad air freshener. You get used to it, and you don't know it's stinking up the air. And Dr. King said, I've decided to stick with love. Hate is too great a hurt. So these practices, they keep us at peace, they keep us in love. Pay attention to your perception. Pay attention to any preconceived ideas. Watch your words. Watch the story that you are telling, the words you're using. Be courageous. Speak truth when you see injustice. Forgive and let go. Don't hold on to the anger and resentment. And peace begins with me. When you see the injustice, rename it and. So I have a little story, but it's about being willing to heal. And so years ago, when I first started teaching, my teacher, I just moved to Portland, my teacher moved away, and so I took over teaching these classes on Emma's Hub. I was teaching these classes and had a wonderful group that was meeting in a little location. And what happened is Peter in the class, his wife Susan came in to pick him up. Well, Susan is also a teacher that many of the students knew. So the class ended, and as soon as it ended, Susan walked into the room, and everybody went, oh, Susan, hi, Susan, it's great to see you. It's great to see you. And my ego did not like it. And nobody said, great class. Nobody said, thank you. Everybody just left. And I stewed. And I stewed in that, and I stayed in that. I said, I don't want to stay in this. I don't want to stay in this. And every time I thought of Susan, I just had this edginess and this angst and resentment. And I said, I've got to work with this. I did the praising prayer that I taught you. I praise you. I raised you, Susan, in the name of love. I did releasing prayers. I did love prayers. I did all the prayers that I could release this energy I have, so that I wanted that when I thought of Susan, I could be at peace. It took several days of doing that. Finally got it, that I saw my pattern, I saw my practice, I could be at peace. About 2 weeks later, I got an envelope in the mail, and in it were 2 checks. And one, they were from Peter, and one was payment for class, and the other one was a payment, a tithe check to me, and a note from Peter and Susan, thanking me for the work.
Wow.
Thank you for the work that you're doing. So you can imagine I was humbled, I was grateful, and I saw the power of practice. That when we practice that letting go, when we practice that forgiving, when we see something, and it's the little things, isn't it? It's those little things that get us. Oh, I could have a great day, and that computer can set my whole day. Or one phone call, or sometimes it's even a glance from someone, right? Or not a glance from someone. It could be anything that sets us apart and tears us apart. And so what we want to do is heal all those things because it keeps us in the flow. It's a letting go of any block that we have to find. And when we let go of that, we extend that to our friends, our families, our neighbors, our communities. We extend that and we lift that vibration for all of us. So it's a new day because every day we have the opportunity to do this. We have the opportunity to change. Whatever went on before, we can bless it and let it go and start fresh from this moment and see it new from this moment. I'm willing to see this new. I'm willing to have a holy moment, as the Course in Miracles says, to see things in love, to experience them. Resist the temptation to point at what's wrong. Resist picking up stones to throw. Resist telling the old stories, but instead, let's stay in love. So when we align to peace, we align in the opportunity for the greater good to be manifest. So let's take this into a meditation that we can claim for ourselves, that we can ground this for ourselves. So get centered in your chair, take a breath. Reception and release. Breath is a divine circulation of the mind. Reception and release. Reception and release. So imagine right here and right now that in your heart area, there is a light, a spark, a flame. And see that flame grow brighter. This is the divine light of love. This is the divine light of goodness, of grace. See that light grow brighter and brighter. See that light expand in the whole body. So love, it's love. Love moving through every cell, fiber, tissue, gland, organ, nerve, and bone of the body. Just imagine and feel it. That love has filled your body. And now love, because love cannot be held or contained, love flows out from you into the people on each side, into this room. This room is filled with love. And this room is filled with love, this sanctuary. And it's love cannot be held in a building. So love expands outside of this community. Expands outside this community to the city, into our county, into our state, into our country. This love goes around the world. And love goes to any place of conflict, knowing there is peace. Peace goes to any place where there is pain, knowing there is harmony. Love flows to any place where there is separation, or resentment, or war, or discord. And so we send it to all the troubled places in the world. Too many to name. We know where they are, and we know where to send love. And we send love, and we send angels, knowing that angels carry this message of love, and that angels are surrounding and circling, just like the man in the tribe. Angels are circling around every place, every person, every country, every city, every opportunity, love encircles. And so we know that healing presence of love goes out and lifts everyone into a vibration higher and higher, into that Christ love vibration. And love sets us free. So how grateful I am for this good. I know as we go out this day, we take this love with us. We take it and remember it each day that we have the opportunity for more love, for more peace, for more grace. I give thanks for all of us, for the grateful heart, and together we say, and so